Hello, my friends. Welcome again to the Wise Idea podcast with Christopher J. Harris. I am your host, Christopher J. Harris. And guess what, y'all, man? I'm so excited to have you come back and hang out with us for another week. And if you are new to the party, well, here's your official welcome. I'm rolling out the red carpet for you, and I'm so glad you're here. And if whatever got you here, whatever made you connect with our podcast today, I'm so excited that it's happened. We do a weekly podcast every single week that comes out on Thursdays, and we are committed to providing tools for inspiration and wisdom for life. Our goal is to inspire everyday people to live wise lives. And so guess what, guys? When wisdom becomes a part of your life, your entire life gets better in every single area. And so thank you so much for tuning in. We are on multiple platforms with social media and invite you to tune in with us, but we'll tell you more about that on the back end of the interview. Today, guys, and all of this month, we have been focusing on dads and fatherhood. And what does it mean to be a man leading other young men who are going to become men at some point? And so we've had an incredible list of guests that's with us, and today is no exception, guys. Guess what, y'all? I've got the man himself, Mr. KD Bowe from Praise 102.5 in Atlanta, who is also the founder and leader for the ManUp Community. KD, what's up, brother?
I like the intro. The intro cold.
Oh man, listen, I'm just trying to learn from people like you. I study how y'all intro them shows every day. And listen, man, I'm just trying to handle business in my part of the world. That's all.
Good stuff, man. It's good to be on.
Well, I'm glad to have you on. So let's jump right into it. It's Father's Day coming up, or some people may listen to this and Father's Day has just passed. Either way, this is the month we focus on dads. And let's start off first of all by saying that we believe that dads don't get enough credit. What are you sensing in that regards with the amount of attention or lack thereof that dads get when it comes to Father's Day and recognition as dads?
Well, they don't, and I think that most people would say that they don't. I think the challenge is that with all of the systems that are in place to kind of prohibit men from being the best version of themselves, we get overlooked a lot. And I think that it's such a polarizing conversation to talk about a father versus a mother. Doesn't necessarily have to be that way. We're just different perspectives, different everything. And because moms have had to step up and do so much in the absence of fatherhood and the absence of the man being there, we get overlooked a lot. And for us to, for a lot of children to give dad some shine, even equivalent to moms, it makes them feel some type of way because they know for a fact, unquestionably, in many cases, mom was there. And so to share that, sometimes mom feels a certain type of way and a little subtle manipulation. Hey, okay, I got you. I know dad was, but understand, who has been here the whole time, who was here wiping your little snotty nose. So, dads don't get that real love, but the truth is, I think that's turning around. And I think you, as well as myself, ManUp Community, we're going to help turn that around.
Man, that's incredible. So let's talk about ManUp Community and why you started it, why you felt like there was a need a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that for people that may not know what it is.
Okay, so ManUp Community is a 501c3 organization, and our primary goal is to help families and communities be better by giving men the tools that they need to make them better. So if families and communities are going to get better, then men are going to have to make them better. But the challenge is that there are a lot of men that are bleeding while they're leading. There are wounds that most of us have, and those wounds many times have not been addressed. And so any of the deficiencies that we've had that has been noticed or that have been noticed is because of those wounds. For instance, maybe there has been abuse, or maybe our father wasn't there, or we had to kind of figure it out on our own. Well, that comes with the cost. I mean, that comes with the price. I mean, you're trying to figure that thing out. You're going to mess up some along the way. And so a lot of guys are leading while they're bleeding. And so when I created ManUp Community, I created something that I needed for me. I know I made plenty of mistakes. I made mistakes hey, Christopher, I made probably some of your mistakes too. And so I just said that if I could have had this, then I probably would not have made the mistakes that I've made, that I made. So I created an environment where guys could come together and get the healing that they needed. There are programs in abundance for women, government and otherwise, programs in abundance for children, government and otherwise. There are very few programs for men that help men, because when you think about a man, you think about a person who should already have the answers. You don't think about the problem. You think about the solution. Man up. You know what you're doing. You should know what you're doing by now. And after a while, hey, I need to focus on something that's more important. But the truth is, a lot of guys don't like to admit the fact that they don't know. We'd rather be lost than to tell you we don't know where we're going. We'd rather walk around with pain in our abdomen as opposed to going to the doctor. It's just like there are no real rewards for guys to say, I don't know, I don't have, and I am not. The rewards come from having, knowing, and being. So guys tend to front. They tend to lie. They tend to do a whole lot of things just to make sure that I can at least get a win. Because if you find out that I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have it, or I don't know it, then, I'm gonna take an L, and I don't want to take an L. I can't afford to take an L. So the best thing I'm gonna do is front. I'm gonna act like I know when I really don't know. I'm gonna act like I have it when I really don't have it. So in ManUp Community, we've created a culture where guys can just be themselves, be their authentic selves. So I have some strengths that I'm aware of, but I've got weaknesses that I'm aware of as well. So if you can come into an area where you have people that are greater than you, let's say you're a level 7, you got level 10s in the room. If you're a level 7, you got level 5s and 4s in the room. You've got a situation where somebody can teach you, and then also somebody can learn from you. So ManUp Community is basically about empowering the man to be the best version of himself and making it a stress-free, safe, bash-free environment where guys can grow up. Well, man up.
Man, I love it. I love it. So I've got 3 questions off of the backdrop of just that, explanation and what you shared. I mean, it's brilliant. And thank you. Let me just say thank you. I don't know if the guys that you are touching on a regular basis have come back and said thank you, but as an outsider hearing about the mission of ManUp and even engaging on social media with you a little bit, I want to say thank you for starting it, man, having the courage to do that, because you're also putting your story out there, and that takes some level of maturity and all of that. So let me say thank you. Well, 3 questions. Number 1, you talked about, ManUp providing the tools that men need. So I want to know what you believe are some of those tools. And I think it would be helpful for the men that are listening to this, but also the women that are walking alongside those men to hear this. Because as you said earlier, sometimes we can front like we already are walking in the solution when in fact we're trying to figure it out while we go. Number 2, you mentioned a little bit about some of those wounds that men walk with. And I'd like to dig into that a little bit more. And then finally, in this part of the conversation, if a brother or a man is listening to this today, and they don't have a ManUp community in their community, what should they do? So those are sort of the 3 initial questions from you just talking about ManUp a little bit.
Good stuff, man. Well, first of all, you're welcome and thank you for the compliment. The tools are, once a man is informed of who he really is, all right, and is given the tools, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, to heal from the wounds of his past. And then number 3 is surrounded by a community of men who will support him, bash-free, judgment-free, that he can become a force of unstoppable productivity. And many of us, we have not had those 3 items. Many of us haven't. We look at success from social media. We look at success from the people that we idolize, quote unquote, you know what I mean? And we say, you know what? They don't have problems. They are not like me. They don't struggle the way I do. But nothing can be further from the truth. I mean, listen, we mask a lot. I was, and I'm going to answer your question in a moment. I went to this place in Atlanta called Progressive Medical, in which I do an endorsement deal with. And one of the things that they do brain mapping. And while they have this little, it's like a little cap that you put over your head, and you have like electrodes in it, and they kind of basically tell you how you think. It's the weirdest thing. Just like your heart gives off like an EKG for your heart, this brain mapping kind of shows which parts of your brain are strong, which parts are not. And as I put it on, he started kind of telling me about myself, and everything in me was fighting, even verbally, what he was saying. But the truth is, it's like the brain doesn't lie. You are what you are. And so I'm not exactly sure why I even brought that up, but you brought it up because
all of us need to go get our brain mapped.
Yeah, man, we go through some things, man, and this is why I brought it up. Thank you. I brought it up because I'm sitting there. He gave me an exercise to do, and I'm sitting there, and I'm calm. I'm looking at the little, direction that he wanted me to look. And as the exercise was over, he says to me, "Wow," he said, "You're calm. You're not saying anything." He says, "But I can look at your brain waves and tell that you're all over the place. Your eyes are closed. You're not saying anything, but your brain is doing a whole lot of stuff." See, and I think that is what a lot of guys do. We got to keep up the front, even when there is a lot of chaos inside of us. So some of the tools that we give you we've got a program called ManUp Certified. ManUp Certified, we take you through a 6-week curriculum, 6-week course in which we basically show you how to man up. And it'll probably be 7 or 8 weeks as we add on to it. But right now it's 6. The first one is looking at the man in the mirror, looking at yourself, who you are, beyond your brands, beyond the titles, beyond your failures, beyond the success. And many people, Christopher, can't answer that question, who are you? Because we answer that with, hey, my name is Christopher Harris. I live at such and such. I'm good at such and such. But when I say who are you, I'm talking about beyond that, beyond the brands, beyond the labels, beyond the successes, all that. Who are you? Like at the core of who you are you? What is your why? We get focused a lot on the what's, but beyond the what's, because there's a why for every what. And in order for you to understand the what, you got to understand the why. What's, they can go away. What's are like branches. You can cut them, but another one's going to grow back. Your why is your root. Like, what's your why? Who are you? And it takes a minute for guys to really get it. But once they get it, the lights start coming on. They begin to understand that, wow, okay, man, I am a little boy. I got expensive stuff. I'm immature, but I got a whole family, And so when they deal with who they really are, and when they really deal with the things that have brought me here, for instance, I just began to understand that, and I hope we got some time because I can just kind of just break this out. I began to understand, man, that one of my things that made me really successful stemmed from a wound. And as successful as I became, I felt more and more lonely. The more success, the more money, the more clout, the more recognition I got, I still felt by myself, still felt inside there was some depression going on. And I had to get down to the core of my why, the core of what is that all about? And I thought about when I was around 8 years old, and I went to Rockingham, North Carolina from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, which is where I'm from. It's about a 7-hour drive. We were going to see our cousins. I loved my cousins. And it was just to be around them was just always so much fun. About a 7-hour trip, couldn't sleep the night before, really excited. And I finally got in the car, was going there, really excited. I get so excited sometimes I can't eat. We get up to the house, overly excited. My oldest brother didn't come. He went to Virginia that weekend. And when I walked through the door, he said, "Hey, Keith." K stands for Keith. "Keith, hey, what up, Keith? Hey, Keith." Walked in, dapping up everybody, all excited and happy. And they were still looking at the door. They said, "Well, where's Ray?" Now, Ray is the gregarious one. He's the one that, everybody likes. He tells the jokes, and he's a joy to be around. I love him. It's my brother. And I said, "Oh, he could come." And then they said 6 words that really caused a avalanche in my life. They said, "Well, why did you come then?" And it crushed me because for the first time, I realized that I wasn't enough. And I didn't know that. I always thought I was enough. I always thought that, if there's a problem to be solved, I can solve it. Give me a little time. But it was the first time that I'm standing face to face with people telling me, "Hey, you're not good enough." And why did you come? Yeah.
Let me ask this really fast. So were they joking when they said this, or were they serious?
No, they were serious. They were serious. But even if they were not serious, I looked at it as though they were serious. And so it crushed me. So the whole weekend, I'm sitting up there I'm making a fool out of myself, trying to act like Ray. I'm trying to tell jokes like Ray. I'm trying to, do what he does. And it wasn't working because I'm not Ray. I'm Keith. So the idea that I wasn't enough, it just stayed with me. So I realize now I got to learn better than anybody else. I got to work harder than anybody else. I got to study harder. I got to run faster. I got to do so much more because I'm not enough. And granted, it served me well, served me very well, served me well in the church, served me well in school, served me well in my scholarships and all this kind of stuff. It did me very well. But at the core of it, I just did it because I didn't feel like I was enough. The way God made me. And I didn't really stretch it all the way out there, but I just knew that I'm cool, but I'm not enough for the people that really matter. Stretched into my marriage. I'm on I don't want to say second marriage, but I'll say last marriage. Because, I had some wounds, man, that I never healed from. But once you begin to understand how to heal from those wounds, that's when you begin to get better. So ManUp Certified, that first class is, the man in the mirror. You deal with you. Second class, and MANUP, man up. Maturity, accept responsibility. The N is never settled. It speaks to persistence. The U is for unity. I am my brother's keeper. And P is for productivity. It's not about what you plan. It's not about what you say. It is about what you produce. It's what you do. And I heard Bishop Jake say it, and it was so succinct. It's not, you can teach what you know, but you will reproduce or produce who you are. So until you really heal, find out the why to your what, then you're just going to reproduce who you are. And I'll end it with this part. My father, and I speak about him and as respectful as I can, but my father did the best that he could. He gave us what he had to give us. Even though there was times in which I needed more, he gave us of the capacity that he had. And so his father, was physically abusive to his mother. He witnessed it. He saw it. And so he said, "I'll never be like my father." And he wasn't. He never touched my mom. But dear God, did he was very physically abusive to us. Physically abusive, verbally abusive, 6 children. And I said that I would never be like my father. And I wasn't. But yet again, I was. I didn't get his fruit. He didn't get his father's fruit. But I did get his root, as he got his father's root. And that is fear and insecurity was one of those things that laid resident in our lives. So it just showed up a different way. And so although my father didn't beat my mom, and he did beat us. And I understand discipline and what have you, but no, this is beyond that. It's beyond that. I give you stories, brother. And although I didn't beat my children, I did beat myself, but the root was the same. And so again, a lot of guys deal with these things and you don't even understand how potent the wound is until somebody points it out that, hey, this ain't normal. I think about this story of this dog that this female dog, she got in an accident and for whatever reason, she survived it. They had a broken leg, but nobody ever, some dogs in the country, man, they don't take them to the vet. So it never really set right. So she walked with a limp. And then she had all these puppies and what have you. And the puppies walked with a limp. And so they took him to the vet and they said, hey, what's going on? What's up with these puppies? Nothing's wrong with the puppies. The example that they had was they saw their mom walking with a limp. And so they walked with a limp. Nothing wrong with them. And so, man, we reproduce who we are. And then there are a lot of people that are watching us, man. And we are just kind of bleeding and spreading our mark on everything around us. So the truth is, you need somebody outside of you to say, hey, that ain't normal. That ain't regular. You got somebody to tell you, I understand that you're doing it with all your heart, with all your soul, and you're very passionate about it, but you can be just as passionately wrong as you can be right. And so the community part of it, it's not the man up. We started out as man up, but it's the community part of it that really brings it together because the enterprise of one can't expand. If you want to be the best version of you, you're going to have somebody that's going to pull on you in both directions. Number one, you're going to have somebody that you can be accountable to, somebody you got to be accountable for, and somebody you can walk beside, somebody to know where the bodies are buried.
Man, I sure hope your book is coming out like yesterday. Man, so let me say this. My podcast, we are now about, maybe 5 months in, and I'm very thankful because I've been able to generate and hope to continue to generate a very diverse audience. And what we speak to and how we speak to it applies across the board to many diverse communities, Blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asian Americans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I want to just say to those that are listening to this, and if you're not an African American man, please don't take offense to this, but I want you to hear the heart behind this. And back to a little something that KD said earlier, was his acknowledgement and recognition in that moment with his family that he wasn't enough. And I believe that one of the issues as African American men that we encounter is the question, even if we are overachievers, the question in our culture that is in the back of our minds, are we enough? KD, what's your thought on that, man? I mean, when you think about African-American men thriving in politics, thriving in corporate spaces, thriving in arts and entertainment, even in sports, what do you think about that? Do you agree with that statement? Does that resonate with you? Do you disagree with it? What do you think? All right, guys, we'll be right back. I know you are right in the middle of an incredible conversation and you were gleaning things from this incredible conversation that we're having currently. We'll get right back to it. I was enjoying myself as well, but I wanted to interject really quickly and just invite you, if you are listening to this podcast, that probably means that you are also on social media. Well, listen, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. As a matter of fact, y'all, guess what? I'm also on Pinterest. I would love to have you as a part of my tribe, my following, my connection, my social media family. And so if you're on any of those platforms, I'm at CJ Harris O-N-E, CJ Harris, O-N-E. Would love to connect with you. So while this commercial is even going on, before we get back into the conversation, why don't you go online right now, pull your devices out, pull your computer out, and hit the follow button, hit the friend request button, hit the engage button, and we'd be so glad to have you as a part of our social media following and family. Not only that, as you listen to this podcast, you may be hearing things that are insightful for you, things that are being shared where the light bulb goes off. I would love to hear about those moments. As a matter of fact, you may be listening and there may be questions that you have or things you'd like to share with us that you're hearing. And either way, we'd love to hear from you. So please send us an email. The email address is info, I-N-F-O, at ChristopherJHarris.com. Again, that's info at ChristopherJHarris.com. Not only that, but lastly, if you have a project or a book or a platform that you'd like to promote or advertise with us, you're thinking that this would be a great audience for you to reach and connect with, we'd love to start a conversation with you about that. So please send us an email, again, at info at ChristopherJHarris.com. And in turn, we'll send you an information sheet and be glad to start that incredible conversation of partnership with you. With that said, guys, let's get right back into this amazing conversation that we're having. Be sure to pull your notes back out. It's going to be fun. Let's go.
Well, it's always a challenge. I absolutely agree with the fact that it is a struggle to know whether or not you're enough. I don't know what this is that God put in us, but somebody got it right when they put cheerleaders on the field. We need to be validated. We need to know that what I'm doing is enough. And when we realize that it is enough, or when we realize that we're okay, man, we step on the gas a little bit more. But it's very difficult when you don't know, and you don't know. And then it's sad because when you have women in our lives, and I'm dancing a little bit, I don't want to dance, but you got women in your lives who they have their own wounds. And unfortunately, because there was a man in their life that caused, or it was the beginning of, or was the catalyst, I want to say, for a wound. They don't really fully know how to give you what you need. And even if they know how to give you fully what you need, they may think back to, well, my mama gave my daddy what he fully needed, but he still left. So maybe if she just held back a little bit more, then maybe he would have stayed a little bit more. And you get all these little cancerous thoughts that just kind of run rampant through the minds of both males and females. But yeah, we want to know whether or not we're enough. There are systems that are in place that are designed to castrate, and that's a tough word, but I want to use it. Castrate men. Systems that are in place. I mean, the old welfare system was designed to, hey, you got kids, you can't pay for them, government will pay for them. That's no problem. However, you can't live with them, because if you live with them, we're not going to give her that money. What do you think a woman is going to do that has kids that are eating, 3 kids, 2 kids that want to eat? They like to eat. And she said, if they would come to your house, and I mean, you remember this, man. They would come to your house and search your house and look under your bed and see if there was the presence of a man. We'll give you money. We'll give you assistance as long as there is no presence of a man around. Come on, man. This is a diabolical plan of the enemy, and it worked for years. So then you say, well, I want to be in my kid's life. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to step it up. I don't have a whole lot of money, but I'm going to do the best I can. And then they say, well, okay, cool. You want to be in their life? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to add the money that you're giving, that now since you want to do the right thing, you told us that you're going to do this. So we're going to add the money that you're giving to her income. So now she's getting income from you, and what we were typically giving her, yeah, you know what, we're going to pull back on it because she's above the threshold now. It's a plan of the enemy. And so for guys who really just want the win, we just want the win. We'll do a lot of things, man, just to get to the win, just to get to the validation. Tell me that I am enough for you and I'll go harder. But it's hard to do that, man, when it seems like the more you step up, the more you get penalized. And so, yeah, I don't think that system is in place like it. Well, yeah, it is still in place because there are still areas, even of Atlanta, 4th Ward, etc. You know, you got subdivisions where you've got 900 women and children there, but only 27 men. Real numbers. And so what happens when men step up and when men are there, when the presence of a man is there? A lot of people know what to do with it. They have no idea to do with it. So government subsidies come to businesses that will hire women. It's not that they just want to hire women. It's that if I hire a woman and she's Black, then I get double credits to make sure that I'm in line with whatever the governmental regulations are. If I hire a man, I'll get one. I prefer to get two, so I hire a woman. So now that woman is making all this money. She's coming to the house. Well, this guy ain't making as much as she does, and God forbid he ever has a record. God forbid he has a past. Yeah, so you doggone right. You doggone right. Men need validation. They need to know that I'm enough. They need to know that we're needed, we're valued, and we're wanted. But it's tough in this culture when it's easier for a woman to get a job than it is for a man. It's tough. It's tough, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be bad English, but it's going to make total sense. It don't get no gooder than that.
Right, man.
So, KD, like for real, okay. So, if a brother, if a man, regardless of race or whatever, is listening to this, and they don't have a ManUp community in their community, where do they get help, man?
ManUp Community was born from something that I said. Again, the why of ManUp Community is I created what I needed, and so. You don't have to specifically have a ManUp community, but you know, I'm doing air quotes here, specifically a ManUp community. What you can do, though, is understand the power of community. See, your voice is everything. I preached on Sunday about, do you know of a good weed man? And I've got a lawn service that comes to my house. It's called Weed Man Lawn Service. And my yard looks amazing. Because for the past 2 years, they've been coming in, they've been putting down weed treatments and everything. So when the bad stuff comes, it doesn't stay because I got a good weed man. And so our words are seeds. Our presence is seeds. And so when a man's presence is there, it makes all the difference. The bad stuff can't stay. Your presence needs to be certainly in your own home. Well, let's start here. Your presence, first of all, and words of positivity and affirmation needs to be first spoken to you in front of a mirror, according to what God's word says about you, and so that you can understand your potency and your power. But then you have to have your presence in your home with your wife and your children. How do you know you're a good husband? You can't grade your own paper. Your wife tells you. You can't say I'm a great husband and your wife disagrees with you. Guess what? You are good great based on the person that you're supposed to have impact on. You're a great father, your kids will tell you. Well, they may not tell you right away, but eventually they'll tell you. Your community needs to feel your presence. So you got to start from there. You got to start understanding that you are a gift going somewhere to be given. And once you start there, when you get up in the morning, you lay the foundation. Like when I get up in the morning, the first 2 hours of my morning, I get up at 5 o'clock every morning. And the first 2 hours of my morning are set up to make sure I lay the foundation for the rest of the day. When I get up, my first time is prayer, but it's not so much a specific prayer, but it's it's worship. So I get up, I play my music. You know, I listen to my certain podcasts, or I listen to music, you know, some music that kind of make you cry, but you don't want to listen to it in public because you don't want to have that ugly cry. So I listen to that music in my private time. And I just say, God, I don't know what's going to happen today, but I know life is going to happen. And I just want to be prepared so that whatever happens in the course of this day, there's nothing that you and I cannot handle. There's some things that you're going to do, but there's some things you tasked me to do, and I'm going to trust you to be able to get it done. Get my exercise in for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I'm straight. I'm ready to take on the day, carpe diem. But every man's got to know that when he gets up in the morning, I'm a gift to be given. So my goal is to, in this culture, man, it's all about what you can get. How many likes can I get? How many followers can I get? How many retweets can I get? But how many of us are focused on giving? Because the truth is that the path to greatness doesn't come from getting. The path to greatness comes from giving. The path to greatness comes from giving, serving. Like, who are you serving? I'm telling you, man, when I get up, I say I look for opportunities to give. I look for opportunities to mark myself on society. That's what remarkable means. Worthy of making a remark about. I tell guys all the time, it's not about being good. Good enough is not enough anymore. Good, you look right over good. People don't look over great. They don't look over remarkable. And if you are remarkable, especially to the men of faith, if you have the power of God inside you, you got the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, you're standing on the word of God, you got grace and mercy following you, the celestial angels all around you, night and day, angels watching over you, and whatever comes out of your mouth won't come back to you void. I mean, you are a walking force. There's no reason why you don't make a remark on whatever you come around. So I walk in that authority in the course of a day. When I get in the elevator, I'm giving something, even if it's a smile, even if it's a compliment. Even if it's something, I want that you remember that guy in the elevator. I want you to remember the fact that there was this Nissan Armada that let you in traffic when everybody else was being jerks. I want to give out all day long, man. Give. And then when I go to bed, I want to have given out. And I just believe that when I go to bed empty, God increases my capacity to receive so I can give out even more. So as a man, talking about what you can do if you don't have this in your community, understand your isness. Understand the essence of God that is in you constantly, and never lose sight of that. Even in your tough times, I can't be broken. I can't fall back. I can't lose, man. I got too much God in me to lose. And so when you think about that, you then begin to find other people that have that same mindset. It's what's that word? It is the confirmation bias. Whatever you focus on expands. It doesn't mean that it gets bigger. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you notice more of it. And so if in you at the forefront of your mind, in your prefrontal cortex, you're thinking about the fact, hey man, I'm a gift to be given. You start recognizing other gifts, and you create communities with those other gifts. And then y'all combine and you start doing great things. So now not only are you getting better, now your family's getting better, your children see that, and now your communities are getting better. It all starts with the man. The strength of a community is gauged by the strength of the men that are in that community. So whatever you want to call it, you can call it ManUp Community, you can call it Us Community, Park Haven Subdivision Community. It doesn't matter. But as long as you make sure that you are remarkable, you leave your mark everywhere you go. They ain't got to know your name. But they do know that whoever this dude is, he's 6'4", looked like he was maybe 240, 250. He made me smile. He helped me with my groceries. He told my son, hey man, when you got the cart, if you really want to be a real solid dude, roll the cart back to where it came from. Don't just leave it there. Bums do that. You're not a bum. He told my son that, and now my son told his siblings that, and now wherever we go, they're out getting grocery carts and putting them where they're supposed to go. It was the person that he saw you open the door for that woman, and he saw that woman look at you, and she was like, handling you crazy, but you were still smiling. You didn't look at her butt. You didn't try to get her number. You were a gentleman. It really is just about putting your mark on everything that you come into contact with, because you got too much God in you not to.
Man, I don't know what to say after that. Happy Father's Day, doggone it. No, I think you're right, man. Katie, if I could just say this way, I think a lot of what you're saying and a lot of what you've said in today's episode is really about the fact that we are human beings and not human doings.
I love it.
And and you're calling us today to be something. And as we celebrate dads this month, dads, if you're listening to this, fathers, if you're listening to this, regardless of how difficult your circumstances may be, or even if you're in a place where, man, things are good, you're with your wife, and your kids love you, and you guys are in a healthy rhythm, and we recognize that everybody's story is not that you are a deadbeat dad, as they say, or you are that dad that is separated from your kids. That's not everybody's story. We recognize that. So wherever you are in that spectrum or on that range, we're saying take it to another level.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath, recalibrate, reinvent yourself, and take it to another level. Man, KD, this has been incredible. I want to have a few minutes of fun with you, before we end this interview today. Can I do that? Can I throw some unprepared questions at you real fast?
Let's go.
All right. So for those that are new to the Wise Idea podcast, almost every time we have a guest on, we just like to have a little fun. And so we throw what we call quick fire questions at our guest. And they haven't had time. They may have seen a couple of these questions before, but they haven't seen all of them. And so they haven't had time. And so the goal, KD, is to answer the question. This is like a verbal brain mapping. Back to your example earlier. So the goal is to answer the question with the first thought that comes. All right. So you ready?
Oh, okay.
All right. Apple or PC?
Apple all day.
Favorite food?
Lasagna with bacon on top. I'm so ashamed.
Lasagna with bacon on top? I've never heard of that before.
It's just the weirdest thing, man. Just don't judge me, brother.
Okay. All right. Favorite movie?
The 5 Heartbeats.
Give me a line real fast from the 5 Heartbeats.
What's the Eddie Kane ain't got Eddie Kane don't need no ashtray. The world an ashtray for Eddie Kane.
Man, that's hilarious. All right. Favorite TV show?
Dang it. Right now, because I got a lot of them, but right now it's Westworld.
Okay. Favorite quote?
From my mother. Nobody is so important that everybody got to lie on them.
Wow. Man, your mother just hit a gold mine on that one. Good gracious.
Everybody's saying the same thing about you. It's you, boo.
Yeah. All right. Last 3 books you've read.
Let's see. The last book.
You can't include the Bible. You can't include the Bible.
No. It's not the Bible. Let's see. Simon Sinek. No. It was Seth Godin's Lynchpin. Let's see. Chip Heath, Decisive. And I reread Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
All right. What book has had the most impact in your life other than the Bible?
Oh, How to Win Friends and Influence People, hands down. I read it at least a couple times every year.
Okay. When you're alone in the car, what do you think about?
Everything, all at the same time, thanks to ADD.
All right. Did you win any superlatives in high school?
I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't believe I did. Wait a minute. Yes, I did. I did something regarding the newspaper, something. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't sexy.
Man, that's so funny. All right. Last 2 questions. What are you not good at?
Man, believe it or not, tall for nothing, man. Basketball.
Okay. All right. So everybody assumes you play basketball, but you're like, man, no, I can't do nothing with that.
I mean, if I get up under the rim, you ain't just gonna have your way with me. But if you get me outside and you want to just shoot the lights out, yeah, you're gonna win.
Okay. All right. Last question. Top 3 items on your bucket list.
Fiji Islands, definitely. It's all traveling, man. Like Fiji Islands. I want to go to Costa Rica because everybody talks about it. And I don't know the third one. I don't know the third one. I mean, other than maybe if it's not travel, bucket list would be, man, just to get on the same page with my wife. Brother, talking about a bucket list would be amazing. That's man, I give up both of the other ones, all the other ones, just to get on the same page with her.
Oh, I'm laughing so hard. Y'all got to go back and listen to the May episodes of the Wise Idea podcast. We dealt with mothers and moms right then. And listen, man, that's a bucket list extraordinaire for every man on the planet.
Yeah, man. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, you try to love them based on where they are, and I do. It's just that we're so different, man. We're certainly a circle and a square. I just happen to be a circle that is in love with a square. And man, it gets a little interesting, but we're working on it, man. We're almost there.
Yeah, man, I love my wife. We'll have to bring you back for another episode. But it's funny to me, and most married people gonna get this immediately. It's funny to me how you could be on top of the mountain at 5:00, and at 5:05 you feel like you underneath the lowest valley.
Dude, you don't even understand that. No, you don't even understand. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Hey,
man, you can walk into
KD. Yeah. Hey, a brother, a close friend of mine said, for husbands, it's like getting a concussion. You hurting, but you don't even know how you got hit. You didn't even see the hit coming.
I call it landmines, man, all the time. She can't stand it. I said, I step in a landmine that quick.
Man, that's hilarious. Well, listen, this has been absolutely amazing today to have KD Bowe, the host of Praise 102.5 from Atlanta, ATL, and the founder of ManUp Community Incorporated, LLC, all of that kind of good stuff. And for those that are listening to this, if you recognize KD's voice, he is the voice of so many people and so many businesses across the country and so many organizations and so many entrepreneurs and businesses and all of that. So this has been my incredible privilege to have you on the Wise Idea podcast today, talking about men, manning up, fatherhood, fathers. And I believe you've given some fathers some hope today. So any parting words real quick before we close out today, KD?
Yeah, real quick, to follow ManUp Community. We send out a weekly encouragement every week. You can text the word brothers with an S to 54244. Text the word brothers with an S to 54244. Weekly motivation will come to your phone, and you will definitely enjoy it. It's catered towards men, but women can enjoy it as well.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for listening and sharing the Wise Idea today. As I mentioned earlier, we are on social media. We want to invite you to join the conversation. We're on Twitter and Facebook at The Wise Idea. We are on Instagram at The Wise Idea Podcast. We also have a Facebook group under The Wise Idea. I am personally also on social media. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and yes, brothers, I am even on Pinterest. There are some real brothers on Pinterest. You can catch me at all of those at CJ Harris, ONE. Finally, if you have enjoyed what you've heard today, please head over to iTunes and Google Play. Leave a rating and a review for other listeners to find us. It's very important that you do that. And that's a personal request of me to you. We are also on Stitcher, TuneIn, and Spotify, and coming soon to iHeartRadio. I would also love to hear from you directly. Send us an email at thewiseideainfo@thewисeideapodcast.com. That's INFO at thewiseideapodcast.com. All of the show notes, resources that KD mentioned today, his social media stuff, the text messaging that he just mentioned, all of that will be in the show notes. Go to thewiseideapodcast.com to check out more details and more information. Thank you again for joining us. We'll see you or talk to you or listen to you or connect with you the next time. Y'all already know how I end every single episode. Live wisely. Get understanding. Principal thing.